Our relentless coverage of the Bilkis Bano travesty of justice continues. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. As you know from watching this platform over the last couple of weeks, the Supreme Court will now decide the next steps in the Bilkis Bano case, where the 11 men who raped her mother, raped her two sisters, and then killed her child were released from prison. Outrage is mounting across India, and more voices are, in fact, joining our campaign. Our campaign is called Let's Raise Hell, because we believe that the more noise all of us make for Bilkis Bano, the more the chances are that the Supreme Court or maybe even the Gujarat government itself will take notice. You can see Pooja Bedi, actor, on your screen, who's lent her voice to this campaign, and we'll speak to her in a moment from now. But India's top judges are also speaking out. Justice Deepak Gupta called the decision immoral, unjust, and unfair. Justice Salvi, who first sent these 11 men to jail, said it sets a terrible precedent and is a revolt against the judicial apparatus. All of these judges speaking to the Mojo Story, lending their heft to our campaign to raise hell for Bilkis Bano. Justice Madan Lakur, also of the Supreme Court, saying it's shocking who approved it and how. It is shrouded in mystery and it must be reversed. These are some of India's top judges, but there are voices from other fields as well. And the story really changed after a BJP MLA told Mojo Story that he thought these convicts were Brahmin and men of good sanskar. So we're now actually talking about sanskari rapists. Can you believe it? Nirbhaya's mother, Asha Devi, is speaking to Mojo Story, saying, "इतने संस्कारी थे ये आदमी तो रेप किया क्यों?" Actually saying that this crime qualified for a death sentence. So the least that can happen is that these men can spend the rest of their lives in jail. Join the campaign. Let's raise hell for Bilkis Bano. We have a signature petition that you can access in the description as you watch this program. So do sign it. It's in partnership with Change.org India. And in the meantime, many people are asking, where are the celebrities? Why are they not speaking as they did for Nirbhaya? Well, some are, and I'm very glad to introduce Pooja Bedi, an old friend of mine, an actor, and above all, a woman who speaks her mind. And we know that women who speak their mind unfettered often face backlash, often face trolling. It isn't being easy to be a woman who speaks her mind. So, Pooja, thank you for doing this. And let me start by asking you straight away, what made you? Obviously the story tells itself. It's ghastly. These men shouldn't be out. But what made you decide to go public on Twitter and be as strongly worded as you were?
Um, Couple of things, Barka. Firstly, your tagline is "Let's raise hell," but I think we're already there. What could get worse than this? What could get worse than this for women, for women's rights, for society, for India? For its people to see this happen and to see that nobody comes forward. What could be worse for our image as a country as well? It is hell. It is hell what we're going through. What we actually need to have a campaign called "Wake Up India." Like, wake up. Like, where the hell are you? Where the hell are your voices? Where the hell is your compassion? Where is your moral compass? Where is your sense of being outraged because something that happened to this woman could have happened to you, could have happened to your family, could have happened
Yeah.
to your mothers, your sisters, your daughter, and probably will in the future. Because if you don't stand up and you don't speak up today against mindsets like this, against people like this, against political members of parties who are generating this kind of a mindset in people's lives and saying this is acceptable, if we don't stand up for that, we are going to get an India that we will be ashamed of. So wake up, India. That's my first thing here. What made me stand up? Couple of things. Barka, as you know, I've had my grandmother who's had 3 books written on her. And my grandfather, of course, was part of the freedom struggle, fought alongside Mahatma Gandhi. There's my mother who's had 1 book written on her. And these are women who've had the courage and the strength and the need to speak out to help and empower society, women, the rights that we all are actually enjoying today. And you look at the world, and you look at India, and you look how far we were placed on human rights curve, and suddenly it's just 10 years ago we had Nirbhaya, daughter
Yeah.
of India. Why is Bilkis Bano not the daughter of India? Why is there this sense of she is not and she is? Is it a Hindu Muslim thing? Is it a politically driven thing? If we are not speaking up as a nation, what is not making us speak? We need to examine that, Barkha. Why are people not speaking up? Is it fear? And if it's fear, is it fear of what? Is it fear of government? Is it fear of backlash? Is Bollywood is fear of boycotting? What is the fear about? And when you ask yourself that question, if the answer is, oh, I'm fearful because if I speak up on social media, there'll be an issue, is that the kind of government you want in power? Is that the kind of life you want to lead for the rest of your life, and the life you want for your children, when nobody will be able to speak up in the face of such oppression, in the face of such brutality, in the face of such celebration of depravity? Is this the India we want? And why are we fearful? Why are you fearful of your film being boycotted? Who's going to fear? Who's going to boycott your film? Bhakts? Who's going to fear you? Who's going to boycott you? I don't understand. In fact, you're playing the hero on screen. You're playing a heroine on screen. You're fighting injustice on screen. That's why they love you.
Are you disappointed with your own industry's relative silence on key issues?
I'm gobsmacked, to be honest, because I don't understand, Barkha, why people would fear being boycotted for standing up for the rights of women. Why would you consider that you will be boycotted for speaking up for a woman that was brutalized in every possible way? She fought for 6 years for justice. Those men deserve the death sentence, not life imprisonment. They get off early for good behavior and called sanskari Brahmins, garlanded and given sweets. Their families should disown them. Their families should not want to know these people.
Yeah.
I mean, what is going on here, and why are people not speaking up? We need collective voices. We need for people to go out there in large numbers and say, this is not acceptable. 50% of our country are women. 50%.
Yeah.
We should have large voices out there. Is every woman out there not shocked and traumatized about what happened to Bilkis Bano? I mean, for God's sake, just imagine, viewers out there. Hello, viewers. Are you awake? Are you alive? There's a woman who's 21 years old, 21, 5 months pregnant, gang raped by men. Her mother's made to watch her being raped. She watches her mother being raped, her sister's being raped. Her child, 3-year-old child, has her head smashed. Does that not shake you at all?
Yeah.
And when they come out, these men early released sanskari Brahmins, they're called, by members of the BJP government and various other political parties, members are felicitating them. Do you not want to speak up and say, hello, this is not okay? Are we not one people? Do you not want to stand up for the rights of a human being, which tomorrow, by the way, very well could be your own daughter?
Yeah. And, I just want to say a couple of things there. When you say we're already in hell and we're saying, let's raise hell, what I'm actually saying is we need to make a lot of noise, and we are not making enough noise. That's the first part. And these pictures, can we please play them, where these men come out of prison and they're garlanded and they're given laddus? Nobody's actually right now willing to own who did this. And one BJP MLA who recommended the release of these men is the one who told our channel that these are sanskari Brahmins, men of good values. And I think that in a way changed the narrative of this. But yet, as you said, that outrage that we saw during the Nirbhaya moment, we aren't hearing that level of noise. Now, do you think it's fear? Do you think it's because she's not our class? In Nirbhaya's case, this was a 23-year-old medical student who lived in the city. What do you think it is? Do you think your industry in particular is now too cautious after what's happened with, let's say, a Lal Singh Chadda, or, what was the other one? Raksha Bandhan. Well, that didn't have boycott calls. But, every now and then there are these boycott calls, hashtags on Twitter. I didn't think anyone took them seriously, but maybe people do.
There are a couple of things here. One is people support. One is the sheer travesty of justice in this particular case. Political, no support. I mean, in the sense, we have the Mahua Moitras, and we have people out there who are actually standing up and speaking their mind. Thank God for women like that. And individuals like even Fadnavis stood up and spoke up and said it's unacceptable. And thank you to men like that, because that makes you a stronger and a better man for standing up for women, But Smriti Irani, who heads the NCW and the Women and Children's Committee, it's her job to be standing up in situations like this and making a goddamn loud noise. She is supposed to stand up for women and for children. That is her job. I'm paying her salary to do that. It is shocking to me that women's rights groups haven't gotten up in large numbers.
I mean, women's rights groups have, but unfortunately, the conversation
No,
around women is a deeply politicized. You see, it's political at its deepest level, but unfortunately, we're caught in some banal BJP Congress politics, which I have zero interest in. And what happens is it almost becomes your rape versus my rape. तुम्हारी party के time ये हुआ, मेरी party के time ये हुआ. No one actually cares about women. I'm sorry to be so cynical, but that's how I feel.
you're right. Because Barkha, when I posted my comments on Twitter, I have people tell me, "Oh, where were you in this case? Oh, where was your voice in this case? Oh, why did you not speak up for this person?" My point is, there are 5 rapes happening every single hour in our country. It is not possible for me to speak up 5 times every single hour for every woman who's been violated. I feel for them, and that has been my journey through my life, to stand up for women and their rights, and to ensure that laws are implemented and put in place, and that we push for these laws to be put into place to protect the women of our country, right? Bilkis Bano's case is different from the others because it shows a celebration of depravity. It's different because we see men being celebrated for being rapists, being told that they're often good behavior, despite being rapists who deserve the death sentence. That's why this is different, because it's about a mentality that we must combat in our country. A mentality that thinks it's okay. There's sheer indignity to what has been, to what she has been subjected to. Not her. Every woman who's been raped, every single woman will have to suffer a man like that saying, being celebrated and, being garlanded and being given sweets, because it becomes acceptable because you haven't spoken up, because you have not said it is not acceptable. And it is for the government, it is for the people who are governing us to put these things into place and to tell people what is wrong and what is right. Our Prime Minister Modi, on the 75th independence, talked of women's rights. He spoke of how we should view women differently. And he spoke about giving them dignity. And the same day, these rapists are let off and felicitated and garlanded with sweets. And I haven't heard a word from him saying this is unacceptable. And whether it is a Muslim versus Hindu thing, whether it's reminiscent of the black spot or the Godra rights, this is his time and moment as a prime minister to set things right, to show us what he actually stands for. Does he stand for women's rights? Does he just talk, or does he walk the talk? Is he actually going to turn around and say, hello, I'm not just speaking of women's rights, I'm going to bloody enforce it? This is shameful. And if any member of my party is going to do this, they are out of my party. I will not tolerate such people in my party. I will not tolerate the celebration of rapists in my party.
Basically,
the BJP, it's not a Muslim versus Hindu thing. It is about what is right and what is wrong. They are both daughters of India.
That's right. Nirbhaya and Bilkis are both daughters of India, and that is a very, very important point to make. And the other important point you're making is that the MLA who told us this nonsense about Brahmins with sanskari values, you believe should have been sacked or suspended by the BJP on spot.
1000%. And why was it not done? Why is Smriti Irani not speaking up on behalf of women and children? Why is she not speaking up? It makes us feel, as a common person, that the BJP doesn't want to speak up for women. That has become party and politicized. It's not. You are here to govern the people. It's not about politics. It's about humanity. It's the reason why you have been elected, to protect us, to protect our rights, to give us dignity.
Yeah.
You can't make promises you don't live up to. You can't give bhashans that you're going to, the very same day, turn around and ignore when somebody does just the contrary, and that to your own party member.
Wait, since you've gone public with how you feel about this, there obviously be people like me who'll say, well done, Pooja. What have you had to, face toxic trolling? What's been going on?
Barkha, that doesn't ever bother me, because I know that, the moment you say anything about any political party, their follower supporters, paid supporters, whatever it is, will come after you and troll you. And that's a given. You can't possibly get pissed off with that. You have to sow your own seeds. You have to turn around and let people know what you think, and hopefully ignite them into action, because inaction is also action. And it's very important for us to go out there and encourage people to fight for a better India, to fight for an India where women are safe, to fight for an India where women are respected, to fight for an India above communal divisions, to fight for an India which is not politicized, to fight for a country we are proud of leaving behind for our children and our grandchildren. I don't want this for my country. I don't want this rule of fear. I don't want this fear of boycotts, this fear of speaking up. For God's sake, we were never that country. And I'm shocked that we've been pushed into this state of being this country today.
What would you say to your own colleagues in the entertainment and film industry?
I would just turn around and say, be a hero in real life, be a heroine in real life. I mean, you have the power to influence so many people. You get paid crores of rupees because people follow you and they buy what you sell. If you're selling peace, respect, dignity, human rights, women's rights, isn't that something wonderful? So what if you're not paid for it?
Why do you think they're silent?
I don't know. And you'll have to ask them that. I was shocked when I found out when Preeti Chaudhary told me that she had called 40 people and I was the only one who said, yes, I will speak up. I was shocked because I don't understand why you wouldn't speak up for women and for their rights. Why would you not speak up? You know, when rapists are being celebrated, why would you not speak up? Wake up, India.
Well, the two women in the BJP and one man who have spoken up, Khushbu Sundar, actor herself, also a sexual abuse survivor. She's spoken up and she's urging people in her party to speak up. Devendra Fadnavis took objection, as you mentioned, to those men being
more power to people like that. More power to people like that. And may those be the people in power. May those individuals be the people in power. And that's the kind of parties we should look for, that are filled with people who care for the people. Democracy, right? Of the people, by the people, for the people. We elect them, we pay their salaries, not so that we can live in fear, not so that women's rights can be so blatantly trampled on, not for these travesties of justice that are just looked away from. That's not why we elected them, and that's not why we pay their salaries and the seats they sit on or the luxuries that they enjoy.
And you know what the irony is?
This is our India, and we all need to be a part of this. You know, every drop makes the ocean. You know what is so sad, Barkha? I put on Twitter, do you think Smriti Irani should have spoken up? She heads the National Commission for Women and Children.
The Women and Child Ministry. NCW is different. She heads the Women and Child Ministry. Yes. NCW is the National Commission for Women. She's the Women and Child Minister. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I thought she was also in charge of the NCW in a sense.
No. The NCW is a separate.
Well, I think that's a good thing in that case. I think that's a good thing in that case because she's not doing a very good job of handling the women's department, clearly. You know, and I put this out there. I know 65% of the people said, yes, she should have spoken up against this. 35% of the people said, no, she shouldn't. And then another person, somebody obviously seen my poll, turned around and put that poll on their Twitter handle and the same statistics. It's a mentality, Barkha, that we're raising in this country, that we're allowing to perpetuate in this country. A mentality that says it's okay to brutalize women and it's a whole dirty patriarchal structure coming back in a more feudal manner. And if we don't combat it now, we're not going to be one of those progressive developed countries. You might go right back to being where the Talibans are at.
Well, I think the really important irony is actually that Nirbhaya, you know, everyone is benchmarking this against Nirbhaya and saying, where's the outrage? Well, Nirbhaya's mother, Asha Devi, is very, very vocal. But all of those who came out of the streets at that time are not vocal in the same way. I think we finally have some momentum on this campaign to raise hell for Bilkis Bano. Pooja, I've got to thank you for speaking your mind and pulling no punches. And I hope your speaking out is able to galvanize other people, women and men, to rise above electoral politics, political affiliations, ideological affiliations, right, left, center, and stand with Bilkis Bano. And as you importantly said, stand against the celebration. You know, one of the Supreme Court judges said to me, it's not just that these men have been released, they're being celebrated. The release is bad enough, they're actually being celebrated. And that's what makes this case so different. Any last thoughts before we let you go?
Barkha, all I want to say is thank you. Thank you, and thank every courageous, so sad they say courageous to stand up for something like this, you know, person who has actually gone out there and put everything they have in front of people and trying to raise that support and raise the standards and dignity that all of us women deserve to live with. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for this campaign. Thank you for raising hell, for waking up India, for doing all of this. I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Pooja. Thank you, Pooja. We will follow this through. Thank you and take care. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.